Good evening, Fernwood. It is your March Hare Neil, and it's time for us to visit the illogical world of Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman. We are watching today episode 253 from March 23rd, 1977. Yesterday marked the return to a new status quo after Mary and company were rescued from the ruins of Section K after it exploded. Why don't we take a look? The episode began with Tom and Mary staring lovingly into each other's eyes in bed. They expressed their love for each other, and Mary asked Tom what that meant. He said that it was like the little girl that he married was finally back, and Mary expresses exactly how much that means to her. They kiss and embrace and then finally go to bed, but it seems like Mary's just a little bit disappointed that that was all there was. The next day in the break room, the fellas are all back together, and George and Tiny as well, even though they deserve time off for being trapped underneath the rubble. George and Tiny also seem to misremember exactly how heroic they were. They get a visit from the SWAT team, who are heading off to be interviewed in New York City, and Dash has an activist bent to what he's going to say. Then the fellas talk about the potential suspect who may be involved in blowing up the plant, and they review the materials that Vernon says will lead to the bomber. And we must remember that Vernon is the leader of the GGG, a white supremacist organization. As the boys head out to the line, Mary comes in and Tom asks her why she isn't taking the week off. And she says she wants to work just as much as George and Tiny do. And Tom leaves petulantly, which hurts Mary's feelings. She starts to cry and is comforted by Dewey, the janitor, who shares his words of wisdom and lets Mary know that he's available for any handyman work. Mary and Dewey strike up a friendship, and it seems like they may get close. At the Capri Lounge, it seems like Mary is on shift watching Martha so that she doesn't steal things since she's a kleptomaniac. Nearby, Tex and Lila are wondering where that diary is since they are using it to blackmail the cheaters. And while they walk through the steps of the last time they were there, they notice that Martha has stolen a man's lighter. Tex absent-mindedly gets up to arrest her, but Lila says, hold on, and the two of them realize that Martha steals things. And then Mary gets there to confirm that she's a kleptomaniac, that she's not bad, that she's just sick. And then they realize that Martha has taken the diary, and Lila says she will get it back her own way. And when Tex asks if she will do anything illegal, she says, well, now that her boyfriend's chief of police, she'll be fine. We return later to the Hartman residence where there is a meeting of the GGG where Vernon is trying to plant racist thoughts in everyone's minds. Dewey comes in to return some supplies after he's been doing some handyman work, which sets Vernon off. And to this, Mary suggests that Dewey would make a great member of the GGG, and everyone in the room agrees, except for Vernon, who suggests that he has plans for Dewey. And I expect everyone that this is going to be where we are for a little while, so why don't we strap in and get going.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman!
Hey, Tex. How you like being police chief? Beats working on the line, huh?
You bet your patootie it does. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna stir up this town when I find a boogie to try to blow this place sky high, too.
Oh, man, you know how I feel about that kind of language.
Yeah, how you know there's blacks anyway?
Police intuition. All right?
Hey, Howie!
Yeah.
Here's the demon reporter.
Yeah. How's Fernwood's own Brenda Starr in drag?
I don't know you guys can sit around making jokes with what's going on in this town. You know, I have a feeling that the guy who bombed this place is part of a secret underground group.
Yeah? What underground group?
I don't know their name, but they're getting a foothold in Fernwood.
Foothold, huh? Well, what is they, wrestlers?
It's not funny. They're revolutionaries and racists.
Racist? Racist, you say? Well, what do? Drive stock cars?
See how much you guys laugh when I uncover the story. Believe me, I'm getting close.
Oh, man, the only thing you're getting close to is losing your marbles.
Yeah, I see. What I've been able to turn up so far indicates that they're part of a national organization. It was kind of dying off for a while, but now they've changed their name and they're starting chapters in places just like Fernwood.
Well, what do they do?
What do they do?
Yeah.
They burn houses. They intimidate minorities. They brainwash average citizens. They are just a bunch of paramilitary lunatics.
Paramilitary. In Fernwood? I don't think we got any of them in Fernwood.
No.
You are wasting your time, Freeze. I mean, if there was a group running around town like that, do you not think that the PD would know all about it?
Yeah, you know, I mean, he's got a point there. I mean, I get around a lot. You know what I mean? A lot. And if there's any nuts in this town, you bet you I'd know about them.
Hi, man.
Hey there, Bales.
Hey, Vern.
Mr. Bales, do you think that we could talk some more about the bombing?
I cannot discuss that matter, Howie. The police have the matter on investigation, and I cannot say or do anything that would impede their work. Excuse me.
Right.
Listen, have you men seen these pamphlets? Yeah, they're popping up all over town.
What are they?
Well, they're all about minorities moving into Fernwood and trying to take over.
Take over? What do you mean take over?
Oh, man, they move in and get bust all over the place, breed like a bunch of damn rabbits, and then they start a riot.
Who published that pamphlet?
Oh, I don't know. Probably some decent, concerned citizens. Yes, and they've got every reason to be concerned. You know, it's beginning to look more and more like the mad bomber is an Afro-American. Black.
Sure. That Afro comb? Marvin Gaye album? Come on, if that don't spell black, then I ain't never learned nothing.
Well, whoever they are really putting the pressure on. They have been making threats on my life.
No kidding.
Yeah, I've been getting threatening phone calls and they're trying to get me to lay off the investigation. And, well, you know what? To tell you the truth, I'm really getting scared.
Hey, Vernon, don't you think maybe this is something that we ought to get interested in?
We?
Yeah, man, we.
What'd you say?
What?
You know, GGG.
What was that?
I mean, it would be a community service, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? I mean, here, to protect Howie here, who is doing a service to the community of Fernwood?
No,
You're right.
I don't think we should get involved in something like that.
But, I mean, they threatened this poor guy's life.
Yeah.
Look, it's not just my life. I want to uncover the facts. Now, when Woodward and Bernstein were working on the Watergate story, I'm sure they weren't concerned about their lives. You know, investigative reporters, they don't work that way. See, what's important is the facts, the story, and the truth. Now, I've uncovered a bunch of clues about this group, even though I don't know who's in it or where they are. Now, my research materials have got to be protected.
Research materials?
Right. My research materials on the secret paramilitary group working underground in Fernwood. I know they're here, under some kind of guise. I've got documentation.
Well, it'd be a shame if anything happened to that stuff. You know, Charlie, maybe you were right. Maybe we should give Howie here a little protection. Yeah, it'd be a terrible thing if that documentation fell into the wrong hands. Right, Tex?
Kathy, please, could you do it with a little enthusiasm? Please, watch this, watch this, watch this.
Oh, Mary, I feel so silly.
No, Kathy, I'm telling you, this is the only way. If we want to stop Ma from being a kleptomaniac, this is the only way to do it.
Why don't we just tell her that she's a crook and knock this stuff
No,
off?
you can't do that. Newsweek. I read in Newsweek. This is the only way to do it. It is called group hostility therapy. Now, what it is, see, a kleptomaniac, when they're a kleptomaniac, the only reason they steal is because they feel that they're not getting something else. It's like a hostility, they said of sorts. So they said that what you do is you take that hostility and you take her hostility and you just rechannel it somewhere else so she gets all of that out of her.
But
You
Mary,
know?
I don't have any hostilities.
Oh, Kathy. Kathy. Now, if worse comes to worse, you could always hate yourself.
Mary, I don't know why you're making me do all this.
Have I ever given you bad advice?
Yes, lots of times.
Well, then this is just one more time, that's all. Now listen to me. Now, this is what we're going to do. See, we have this bag here. Here we are going to channel our hostilities. You know, things we get mad at during the day. We're really going to let them out, okay? I'm going to go first, okay? I'll go first. Okay, now. I am mad about high prices. High prices. I mean, I'm mad about high prices. You know, I'm mad about high prices. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this punching bag and I'm going to go, high prices. High prices, bad. High prices, bad. High prices. I want to take all those, I want to take the high prices, and I want to take the high prices, and I want to take the cash register, and I just want to throw the cash register through the plate glass window.
That's a good idea, Mary.
Thank you, Ma. Okay, Kathy, you next, and please try to think of something, because my hands are killing me here.
Okay, let's see. Well, I've been living with this guy for 3 whole weeks, and
Yeah.
he's romantically inexperienced.
Yeah.
And for 3 weeks, how do you think that makes me feel? Ow! It hurts.
See? See what she's doing? Okay, now, Ma, it's your turn. Now, you just take the bag, and you just think of something that you're mad, and you just hit the bag, okay? Come on, and tell us about what's going on with you, okay?
That's because Mary wouldn't take her ballet lessons. And this is for Kathy. That's for Kathy for those relations with all those men. And this is for both of you girls because you were so stubborn and disobedient you wouldn't do anything I ever asked you to. There, and that's for good measure.
Look, if this is going to get personal, I quit.
No. Now comes the best part. Now we purge.
Yes. A physic can be very moving and emotional.
No. This is not a physic. This is a purge. Now, a purge is what we will do is we will each confess something. Does anyone's fingers hurt? My fingers hurt a lot.
Yeah.
We will each confess something that has gone on with us. And then we will say, I did a bad thing, and I will never do that again. That's what we'll do. I'll go first, okay? I'll go first, okay? I'll show you how this is done. Okay, now. You remember Floyd Reimer?
The muscle man with the big arms?
No, he's in the supermarket. He's the bald one. You remember him? He's in produce.
Oh, yeah.
You remember him? Well, anyway, he sells me the oranges. And he takes off money. You know, from the oranges when he sells them to me, right? Now, while he's doing it, he makes very, suggestive, sexual remarks while he's doing it. Wait a minute. Now, I have let him make these very sexually suggestive remarks because I felt, it's worth it to get a few pennies off, on the money. It seemed worth it to me. However, what I'm here for today is to purge. I confess that I have done a terrible thing, and I will never do anything like this again. Okay, Kathy, you're next.
All right, okay. When I was a little girl,
Yeah.
Uncle Jerry brought over a box of candy, chocolates, and I took all the chocolate-covered cherries out and ate them all up so nobody else could have any. So there.
That's boring.
Well, your story about the oranges wasn't that exciting either.
No, Kathy. The point of this whole thing is to confess something bad that we have done, very bad that we have done. If we confess it, we can purge it, and then we can get rid of it. That is the whole point. Now, surely you've done something bad. I want you to think of something bad. Now, think of something bad that you've done, real bad.
Well, I'll do it if you'll do it.
Okay, I'll do it. You go first.
Okay, well, let's see. I made out with Pamela Cameron's fiance right before they got married. There.
Pamela Cameron?
Yeah.
You know that Pamela Cameron was her best friend? See, isn't this fun? Is this fun?
Come on, you have to do it. It's your turn now.
When I was 15, I had a hickey on my neck. Tom gave it to me. It was a hickey from Tom. And Daddy asked me what it was. It was a big thing. And I said that it was a birthmark. And then I cried. And I cried. And I cried. And I cried. Till he just felt so guilty. I mean, I really made him feel guilty for not remembering that, birthmark. Okay, Ma, it's your turn. You tell something horrible that you did, like stealing.
Stealing? Why, I have never stolen anything in my entire life. My only shame is having 2 daughters who have done such awful, disgusting things as you 2 have done.
Maybe it wasn't the current issue of Newsweek.
Howie. Howie.
Mm-hmm.
It's late. Time for bed.
Yeah, I'm working.
You've been over that research material 100 times every night.
You know what? See if I can uncover the secret organization I made. I'll become another Edward R. Murrow. It's really important.
More important than me?
What are you talking about? You're comparing apples and oranges.
Well, apples and oranges are both fruit, and neither of them are any good unless you pluck them.
Is there a hidden meaning in that?
Look, Howie, we have been living together here for 3 weeks, and you're still sleeping on the couch. Now, I never had to ask a man before to sleep with me. What's wrong with you? Is there something the matter?
There's nothing the matter.
It's not normal, you know.
I've got important things on my mind. I've got important work to do.
So does Jimmy Carter, and he still lusts. And not only in his heart if I know my presidents. What, are you afraid?
Afraid? Me? I'm not afraid. It's a bunch of fascist maniacs running around making anonymous telephone calls, making threats on my life, trying to scare me off my investigation. I'm not afraid of anything. So don't go making wisecracks about my virility.
I'm not making wisecracks. I'm simply trying to tell it like it is. Or isn't. I don't understand. I mean, a real virile man, he wouldn't let me sleep alone in this bed alone forever. I mean, didn't you ever go out on dates in high school?
Sure.
Well, didn't any of them ever get you hot and bothered?
Sure.
Well, what happened?
Well, nothing. What do you think I'm gonna do? Go around getting hurt?
What are you talking about?
The moment you let a girl know that you like her, she gets the upper hand.
Upper hand?
Yeah, and then she destroys you.
There must be some girls who aren't out to destroy you.
Name 2.
Me, for one.
Really?
Really?
Well, how do I know this isn't a trick?
Howie.
See, you're raising your voice. That's what I mean by the upper hand.
I give up.
I know that ploy.
Look, can't you trust me for one night?
One night? Do you realize that I was once destroyed inside of 20 minutes?
Will you give me a chance? I'm not going to hurt you, please.
All right. But not tonight, all right? I have too much work to do.
Then when?
I don't know.
See, you really didn't mean it. You lied to me.
I don't lie.
Then when?
I don't know.
When?
Day after tomorrow.
It's a deal. Day after tomorrow.
Now, where would a kleptomaniac hide a diary?
Oh, my God, Mary. I thought you were a burglar. You are a burglar. What the hell are you doing in here anyway?
See, that's a good question, Pa. I mean, that's a very good question. I can understand why someone would ask a question like that. I could understand why a father would ask his daughter what she's doing in the middle of the night over at his house, taking things, you know, especially in a 10-gallon trash bag.
Mary, will you please get to the point?
Pa, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to steal back the stuff that Ma got kleptomaniac. I feel that they should go back to their rightful owners.
Oh, for God's sakes, Mary, I wish people would stop talking about Martha being sick. Now, this is just a phase. Now, she's going to stop stealing, do you hear me?
Pa, you don't want to go to jail, do you?
No, I don't want her to go to jail, but I don't want you coming in here at 12 o'clock and acting like a burglar. God knows I might shoot you sometime by accident.
Oh, thanks, Pa. That was really thoughtful of you.
Well, my stomach's all upset. I'm going to bed.
Night, Pa.
Good night. Good night.
Night.
Now, what in the world am I going to do? I guess I'll just have to pay a visit to Mary Hartman.
The hell's with these lights? Oh, my stomach. Flop, flop, piz, piz. Oh. The hell's wrong with these lights? I swore I turned them off. Sometimes I think this house is haunted. It's ridiculous.
Okay, we've got some things to talk about. We start in the break room with Tex catching up with Mac and Charlie, and Tex is insistent that it is someone black who did the explosion. We know that Tex was responsible for the bomb, and we know that Tex has planted evidence. And then we get a visit from Howie, who is the only person who knows that the GGG is a racist organization, or at least he doesn't know the initials and he doesn't know anyone who's in it, but everyone in the room with him is a member of the GGG. The only Tex at this point is racist because Charlie and Mac, they don't know that the evidence left behind is valid, and they don't assume that that makes a black man responsible. And then Vernon comes in, and Charlie suggests that the GGG do something about the threats on Howie's life. I'm surprised that Vernon spoke so much in front of Howie, because Vernon, at least last time I saw, knew that Howie was investigating. So I'm not sure exactly why he would speak so openly with his racist agenda directly in front of someone who is investigating racist organizations. This turns into an opportunity for the GGG to get involved in Howie's life and perhaps steal all the research that he has been making. And then we come back to the Shumway residence, where Mary and Kathy are planning some kind of odd intervention. It's not exactly an intervention so much as a way of getting Martha to admit to something, but the only thing that Martha will admit is that she's ashamed of her 2 daughters, which is something that we wouldn't hear her say, I think, almost at any point in the series. It starts with the punching, so Mary is letting go at high prices, and Kathy is frustrated that Howie's not paying attention to her sexually, and then Martha expresses that shame, and then they get to the confessions, and Mary admits something pretty mild, and Kathy admits something that was irrelevant 20-something years ago. In any case, when Mary puts the attention on Martha and hints that stealing might be the case, Martha continues to deny. That shame comes even more forward. Now, I don't know if dealing with someone who has kleptomania would require a more modern intervention. I don't know what intervention tactics were available at that time. I typically think of interventions when it comes to confronting people about their addictions, alcoholism and substance abuse. And I'm not sure if the model applies exactly to kleptomania, although there is a sort of compulsive act that is happening. And I should mention Kathy's new do. The hair this week has been really disco oriented, and I gotta say that haircut on Kathy is really flattering. I found it quite appealing. And speaking of appealing, that is what she does to Howie. She appeals to Howie because she feels a bit ignored, and she was the person who said that this would be a platonic relationship at first. Clearly she's craving Howie's attention. And we find out why Howie has not been paying sexual attention to her, because he's had his heart broken and he doesn't want to get hurt again. I get that, but that's not really enough for Kathy. And Kathy pushes to heighten their relationship to a sexual place. And Howie hems and haws and says, well, okay, but not today, because I'm doing my research. And Kathy says, well, when? And she gets him to agree to 2 days from now. And I'm curious, because as I said in the past, I'm rooting for this couple. I know there are some uneven feelings between the two of them. I believe that Howie does have feelings for Kathy, and it's clear to me that Kathy has feelings for Howie. There seems to be different levels of interest in sex, and there's certainly wounds on both sides of this equation. I hope that they can find something good and healthy, and I hope that they can thrive together, to be honest. at this point, they're not ready to do that. And then we get to some suspense with Lila sneaking into the Shumway residence and not being seen by George or Mary, and Mary comes in to take back all of the items, and Lila sees what I believe is the diary, and then George pops in with a shotgun and nearly shoots Mary. But Mary wants to return all of those items to their rightful owners, so in theory that diary could end up back in Wanda's hands if Mary reads it enough to know who it is. However, this means trouble for her as well, because Lila knows who has the diary and is planning to bust into her house. I expect that's a tomorrow thing. And then George comes back in because his stomach isn't settled. He puts some Alka-Seltzer in, and there is a mysterious figure who I don't think was Lila, but I also couldn't tell who it was. I am really intrigued. I expect we'll learn more about that tomorrow, so we'll have to come back to find out more about it. Thank you so much for watching with me again. Thank you so much for leaving your thoughts, feelings, and impressions down in the comments. Thank you for visiting this illogical world with me, and we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.